And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Michael Show. Today is What the Friday. And if you do not know what the Friday is, it's where we talk about a bunch of crazy stories that happen throughout the week, like this dude who decided to get naked in a Walmart parking lot, walk into the Walmart, pick up a pair of socks, put them on, and attempt to walk out of the store. The cops tried to arrest him, and he wasn't really being cooperative, so they had to tase him. Now he's being held on a $50,000 bond and is being charged with aggravated assault, indecent exposure, and shoplifting. All this to go into a Walmart. Let's get on with the show. Our first story today, have you ever had that one neighbor from hell? Well, in Minnesota, a neighborhood is suffering from one of those neighbors from hell. One of the neighbors seems to be causing quite an uproar in this little cul-de-sac. And fellow neighbors, the Hoffmans, have decided to call the police numerous times. In fact, the neighborhood took a restraining order out on this crazy neighbor, and the cops have been called to this crazy neighbor's house about 60 times in the past 2 years. Now, this crazy neighbor also went under psychological evaluation, and she's also known for putting up weird signs on her garage. One of them was aimed at Mrs. Hoffman, and the sign said, "I saw your mommy kissing a breathalyzer," because Mrs. Hoffman's a recovering alcoholic. But one of the weirdest things that this neighbor did was at her 12-year-old son's birthday party, she decided to kind of give a little show out in her driveway. So if you think you have the neighbor from hell, you should try living next to this lady. Our next story, let's talk about these dudes that got pulled over. The cops approached the driver and they started talking to him. And while they were talking to him, one of the passengers decided to get out of the truck. As he started walking away, the cops were like, "Hey, we need you to get back into the vehicle." And this dude all of a sudden started mumbling something. He had quite a bulging lip. So after he was resisting getting back into the truck, and while the guy was trying to explain himself, while he was mumbling, a crack rock fell out of his lip. The cop saw it, went over to him, and noticed he had something else under his tongue, which was more crack. And here, after the cops finally tasered the guy, this dude spit out 23 bags of crack cocaine from his mouth. First, why would you put crack in your mouth? What if one of them bags broke or all of them broke? You'd be dead like that. And two, you were probably better off staying in the truck because the cops were only talking to the driver. That's what you get for trying to outrun the police. Good job. All right, now let's move on to some quick news stories. Our next story, have you ever been to a strip club and you decide to get a lap dance and then you were like, "Oh, wait, I'm all out of cash. Is it cool if I pay you in crack?" So after getting denied, this guy decided to attack one of the security guards. The cops were called and he resisted arrest. This guy's facing 2 felony charges and will be released whenever someone coughs up $45,000 in bail. I don't know a single lap dance that's worth $45,000 unless it's from, you know who I'm talking about. Next up, let's talk about the best attempted robbery, not even a robbery, just a breaking and entering awesomeness thing that you probably ever heard about. There was this woman that came home around 11:30 at night and she found her fellow apartment neighbor in her apartment. Now, 45-year-old Keith Davis, he actually did some good. He didn't take anything. He didn't break anything. What did he do? He decided to clean her house and fold her laundry. Now, this guy's only being charged with a $5,000 fine just for breaking and entering, and he's also going to go under a psychological evaluation. I'm glad the woman didn't press charges, but unfortunately, police had to do their duty. But how would you like to come home to a completely clean house after it was kind of broken into? Kind of the best crime there is. Real quick, let's break it out for Florida. There was this 15-year-old that broke into his neighbor's house and tried to steal a pot plant. The neighbor returned to her home and she saw this kid jumping out of her kitchen window. Now again, the kid is holding a pot plant. And here, whenever he got home and then the neighbor decided to look a little bit around, she realized he didn't steal a pot plant. He stole her tomato plant. She didn't have a pot plant at all. She tried to chase him down, but she lost him. But a couple days later, she ended up finding him and then called the deputies. And the kid admitted to saying, "Yeah, I thought it was a weed plant." Wonder if he tried to smoke it. I'm guessing since he's from Florida, I'm guessing he probably tried to. Now, back to some regular stories. Let's talk about the probably worst bank robber this month. So I'm guessing it's public knowledge to everybody that if you ever decided to rob a bank, you definitely want to wear some sort of mask. Well, obviously this guy didn't get the memo because he walked into a bank, tried to rob it with just a pair of shorts on his head. That seems like a totally legit disguise, dude. He went over to the teller and handed her a note saying, "Hey, give me all your 20s and 50s. The teller asked, "Well, what do you want?" And the guy said, "Never mind." And he decided to leave. Worst bank robber ever. Needless to say, he was caught and charged. And finally, let's talk about the biggest nutcase robber of the week. Now, if you haven't heard about this story that happened in Kentucky, Obviously, you don't surf the internet enough. Let's talk about Andrew Toothman. He broke into a grocery store late at night. He set off a bunch of fire extinguishers in the building. He didn't take any cash or anything. But what did he decide to do? He got completely naked except for a pair of black boots that he was wearing. He decided to douse his body in peanut butter and chocolate syrup. And in the middle of the night, he was like, I probably shouldn't have did this. So he wrote out, "I'm sorry" in one of the aisles using NyQuil. This got to be one of the funniest crimes that's ever happened. I would have loved to see the officers' expressions whenever they had to pull this dude out covered in peanut butter and chocolate syrup. So this poor guy is being charged with burglary in the 3rd degree, criminal mischief, indecent exposure, and is put on a $25,000 bail. That's the way to do it, dude. So, Andrew, robbing a grocery store? You're doing it wrong. All right, guys, that's going to be today's show. Don't forget to leave your favorite story down in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it. Don't forget to put it in your favorites. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. You guys have a great weekend, and I will see you back here on Tuesday.